Finals of the Battle City Gym Premier Challenge between Enosh and Ryan Lynn. And on the screen we see Enosh's team: Salamence, Venusaur, Miltank, Charizard, Conkeldurr, and Zapdos. Well, there's a couple of Pokemon that aren't that common it seems. What do you think?
Well, first of all, you should probably introduce yourself to all the viewers out there, Ed.
Oh, hey. I'm Edward, ISS fan. Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, Edward qualified for the World Championships last year, had 3 top 4 regional finishes, and finished top 32 at Nationals as well. Good friend of mine, and will be co-commentating the finals for you. He is going to be the color commentator, play-by-play commentator, I'll be the color commentator. So, you asked me about my thoughts on Enosh's team. We featured Enosh earlier today, and the Miltank was definitely the thing that was most interesting. Miltank was on 2 different teams today, and it showed his viability with Thunder Wave and Seismic Toss. Enosh's Zapdos is also one that's really interesting, substitute life form. So we've seen a good amount of both players' teams, so it should be interesting, especially because Ryan is running Rain.
And yeah, as Enosh has Venusaur, and most likely a Mega Venusaur, Mega Venusaur is extremely good against Rain. To round of viewers, Ryan's team is Politoed, Kingdra, Nectar, Talonflame, Bisharp, and Amoonguss. So Mega Venusaur will be a pain for him if Enosh chooses to bring it. The leads are coming out here. Enosh is led with Zapdos and Miltank, while Ryan is led with Talonflame and Manectric.
Now this is an interesting matchup because the Manectric actually really helps the Talonflame, for example, because Manectric in its normal form has Lightning Rod. Thunderbolt and electric type attacks in general are redirected out into the Manectric. So if Manectric doesn't choose the Mega Evolve, which you would think it wouldn't, then it will be able to take away any attacks from Zapdos. Of course, Enosh knows this, I'm sure, and so you might actually expect a substitute from that Zapdos.
Talonflame will switch out here. In comes a Politoed. This is a little risky as Zapdos does have the very powerful stab Thunderbolt to threaten the Politoed with. But Manectric does not Mega Evolve, as such it keeps Lightning Rod, and Politoed will be safe for now. The Thunder goes into protect the Politoed, and a Milk Drink will not do anything.
So, rather useless turn there as we saw a Protect from Zapdos. Enosh opting to go with the more conservative play, healing back with that Miltank. Of course, didn't end up mattering, but not bad for Enosh. Of course, that Zapdos still not going to be able to do very much in terms of getting that Thunderbolt attack off. It really wants that onto the both Politoed and Talonflame.
Zapdos will switch out here, and in comes Venusaur. And as we said in the pregame, Venusaur is extremely good against Rain teams. And as Enosh has not shown a Mega Evolution yet, it will probably be a Mega Venusaur. Manectric does Mega Evolve here. Good prediction by Ryan, seeing that Zapdos switches out, removing the need for Lightning Rod. And Intimidate looks like it will be fairly useless, as neither Venusaur nor Miltank rely on physical attacks. The Thunder will hit the Venusaur, and it does a decent amount of damage. The paralysis does occur. Seismic Toss comes down on the Manectric, dealing 50 damage. And at the end of the day, Venusaur does come out of the turn paralyzed, which could come up big in the future.
Yeah, the Mega Venusaur is really essential in this matchup, and Enosh was able to conserve that Zapdos, which I think is important. Zapdos is the key to both knocking out both Politoed and Talonflame, but like you said, Ryan was able to take full advantage of the switch by actually Mega Evolving with Manectric, finally deciding I want more offense instead of, try to redirect attacks away, because honestly, if you're on Enosh's end, you're not going to just mindlessly Thunderbolt. So it's a good play by both ends, but like you said, the paralysis onto that Venusaur is really, really big. In terms of speed, not going to matter too much, but full paralysis is always a very scary thing to deal with. Of course, it's only a 1/4 chance, but as demonstrated in the past, especially in my World Set last year, 25% really means nothing. But Venusaur does go for the Mega Evolution, as you mentioned.
And there goes the Mega Evolution, which will make it a lot tankier. Although Mega Venusaur does not gain any special defense, meaning that it will not be any harder for Ryan to take it out. The Volt Switch does go down on Venusaur, and Ryan will most likely bring out a physical attacker here. He showed Talonflame on turn 1. It is a likely choice here.
We do see Talonflame switch back in here.
Seismic Toss comes down. It'll hit the Talonflame for another 50 damage. But Miltank really hasn't been doing much this game, as those 50 damage attacks so far haven't been adding up. And the Hypnosis comes down, sleeping Miltank. A huge play, and a risky one.
Wow!
A Synthesis does come out though, but we're in Rain, so it'll only heal 33%, and as such, Venusaur still is not at full health.
Yeah, fantastic transitioning by Ryan there to bring in the Talonflame safely. Talonflame is, I think, a key in this matchup because it hits that Miltank, especially, and the Mega Venusaur is obviously what it hits for the most damage. So that was nicely done, nicely maneuvered by Ryan to conserve and bring that Mega Manectric out.
And Enosh will switch out his Venusaur. It was at risk of a Brave Bird from Talonflame, which would most likely have been a KO.
Oh, wow.
Brings out Conkeldurr. Oh man, that is not going to enjoy Brave Bird, as Talonflame looks like it will be hitting to Conkeldurr with a super effective Brave Bird, knocking it out in one hit, as Ryan takes a 4-3 lead here. Miltank will be sleeping this turn, so Politoed. That Talonflame just took a beating. That Scout will hit the Miltank. We are in range, so the damage is alright, but Miltank is extremely tanky.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see Zapdos switch in there instead of the Conkeldurr because the Brave Bird onto the Venusaur slot was relatively obvious, and Conkeldurr, probably not as important in this matchup, but still, it's, Zapdos could have taken that Brave Bird with no issue. And Talonflame actually able to hang on with just a bit of HP. That's going to be important if he wants to get a super effective Brave Bird off at the end of the game onto Venusaur, which I think Ryan needs to make sure he safely plays out because, that is important. Looks like he's going to go for that.
And as Mega Manectric has already been activated, there's no Lightning Rod on Ryan's team to avoid the Zapdos' Thunderbolt. But Zapdos goes for the Substitute, a rare move. Not commonly seen on Zapdos, but Miltank continues to sleep, and the Ice Beam will hit Zapdos' Substitute, destroying it.
Yeah, decent way to try to stall some stuff out, but that's... Ooh, wow.
Rain does go down here, and Politoed is still on the field, meaning that Ryan will have to switch it out and get it back in order to reset the rain up, which is essential to his team.
Yeah, I like the substitute play there just because you stall out the rain there and try to get your Miltank to wake up. Unfortunately, Miltank not waking up, but Zapdos taking less damage than it would have if it just, say, got hit by an Ice Beam. Thunderbolt, most not likely a KO onto that Politoed.
Politoed will switch out here. Ryan is pretty much forced into that move as he really needs to get the rain back up in order to win this game. Manectric will come out here, but as Mega Manectric has already been activated.
Wow.
And the third turn of sleep goes down.
Oh!
A Thunderbolt will come down, dealing massive damage to Kingdra as Zapdos reveals its life force. Man, that is an extremely strong Zapdos. Muddy Water does hit both targets, taking both Zapdos and Miltank out.
It was a really unfortunate third turn sleep for Enosh there. If Miltank was able to successfully wake up, you would imagine he double targeted the Kingdra there as Zapdos and Miltank. What? Oh, right, sorry. As I missed earlier, the Miltank actually opted to go for the Helping Hand, which is why it was so speedy. That was definitely going to be a KO onto that Kingdra, and instead he does a lot of damage with the Choice Specs Muddy Water. Zapdos not able to even set up another substitute, and looks like it's in slow range of actually getting KO'd by his own Life Orb. So, huge 3-turn sleep there. That was essential, so Hypnosis proving to be a clutch move on Politoed.
Ryan is successfully able to get Politoed back in, setting the crucial rain back up. And as Manectric outspeeds both Zapdos and Miltank, it does have a shot at KOing Zapdos, which means that Enosh will choose to protect here, protecting his Zapdos from a KO. And Manectric does attack into Protect, and a Milk Drink goes down, which will restore a large amount of that Miltank's HP.
Yeah, unfortunately though, not exactly sure how much it matters at this point. While Miltank is in a fantastic position in terms of overall bulk, it can't offer much in terms of offense. Of course, it does have Seismic Toss. However, because now that Zapdos protected last turn, Enosh either has to switch it out, go for a double protect, or just let it faint. If you go for the double protect, then perhaps you can bring things back into your game. Miltank can go for a Seismic Toss. If Zapdos just chooses to faint, Venusaur's in the back. But Venusaur is fully paralyzed, but...
An interesting play here as Politoed protects. It does have an eject button as seen in the semifinal match, but Manectric will take out Zapdos with the Volt Switch, and Enosh is looking in a very precarious position now, down 4-2 here.
Yeah, I still can't stress how much that three-turn sleep was for the Miltank there. It was really, really unfortunate, and it was huge on Ryan's side to slowly bring things back into his end and get a ton of damage off. Getting damage off onto Zapdos is the priority here. He has an important decision to make as to what he has to switch out to. Of course, he has Talonflame and Kingdra in the back, but he conserved Talonflame really smartly. He needed Talonflame. Oh wow! But that was that's huge.
Miltank will actually pick up a KO here on Seismic Toss as Talonflame switches in with almost no HP. But still, even with that KO, Kingdra and Politoed are still alive and will be able to deal a lot of damage here.
So by Talonflame fainting, suddenly this Venusaur looks like it's in a really good position. Talonflame, like I said, he had to conserve it to beat the Venusaur, but instead, because Seismic Toss ended up KOing the Talonflame, that was a huge loss on Ryan's end, and Venusaur is in a really good position right now. Ability, can heal with Synthesis, it gets a super effective Giga Drain onto Politoed. Kingdra, of course, Kingdra is choice though, and
a massive paralysis there as the Thunder from turn 2 turns out to bite Enosh here, and Muddy Water even gets the accuracy drop on it, making Venusaur's life even harder. However, Miltank will be able to KO Kingdra with the Seismic Toss. Miltank is extremely low though, so Politoed could not get out here with a Scald, but instead he goes for the Ice Beam onto Venusaur, and with Thick Fat that will do almost no damage.
Yeah, you would have anticipated the Kingdra going for something like a Draco Meteor instead of the Muddy Water, but Ryan instead opted to just get as much damage off as possible. Game's still not over yet. Ryan's got Thunder, Volt Switch, and Hidden Power Ice onto that Venusaur. He might be able to take it out with a double target, but Venusaur might be able to just hang on this turn, so get a super effective Giga Drain off onto Politoed and completely turn things around. We might see Mega Venusaur clutch out this match, but not entirely. It's not over yet. But some smart playing by Enosh. That was unfortunate paralysis the previous turn, but he was able to hang on.
Politoed will protect here, anticipating an attack from Mega Venusaur, and the Thunder will come out from Electric, which should knock out this Miltank. But the Venusaur is still on the field, and that is the primary threat right now for Ryan.
No!
Another paralysis prevents Venusaur from attacking, and now Venusaur is low. Manectric and Politoed could take it down this turn.
Yeah, Ryan really getting bailed out by a bunch of full paralysis, and
there's Hidden Power Ice, which will do a small amount of damage due to Thick Fat.
Watch it hang
will
on.
Ice
Watch
Beam
it hang
KO
on.
this Mega Venusaur? Oh, and it goes down, and Ryan takes game 1, 2 over Enosh. Those paralyses really decided that game.
Yeah, it did.
I feel
I
bad,
thought Enosh
though.
played very well, and that was very
Don't worry
unfortunate.
about it.
Not only did he have to do with 2 full paralysis at the end of the game,
two.
sleep was huge. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
The Miltank staying asleep for 3 turns was absolutely big. And so we're gonna take Ryan takes a 1-0 lead in the finals here. Getting bailed out by some RNG luck, but of course not to downplay him. He played very well as well. But Enosh, unfortunate that he got lucked out. But we are going to go into game 2 now.
And we will be starting game 2 immediately. What does Enosh have to change here? Miltank really didn't do all that much game 1. Part of it was the 3-turn sleep. But what can Enosh do to come back in game 2?
Even though Miltank didn't do that much, I would say it did a fair amount. He picked up 2 KOs with Seismic Toss. It stayed around with Miltank. Ryan opted to target Miltank often with Muddy Water instead of, say, targeting the opposite Pokemon. By having such a bulky Pokemon around, you redirect your attention away to it, as deservedly so, because otherwise you can't just let it Seismic Toss everything. And I thought Miltank was very essential in that matchup. The Helping Hand Thunderbolt play would have KO'd, unfortunately, that Kingdra. And honestly, I don't think Enosh needs to adjust much. I like the fork he chose. Obviously, Charizard's not the Pokemon you want to bring in this matchup. He might want to opt to go with Salamence over Conkeldurr this match, just because we saw last game Conkeldurr just it fainted right away. However, it was good in terms of weakening Talonflame, but I thought it was good, but Ryan still had enough HP on that Talonflame to Brave Bird the Venusaur. Unfortunately, he lost the Talonflame just right away. However, he was still able to end up winning the game with some lucky paralysis at the end. But I don't think Enosh needs to adjust that much. I definitely think he needs to Zapdos, Miltank, Venusaur for those 3 are essential. The last one is a bit iffy. I'm leaning more towards Salamence just for the Intimidate, but we're going to get into this battle. Game 2.
Game 2.
And game 2 will start.
Game 2. Oh, game 2, yes. Yeah.
So both players, of course, Ryan is the trainer of the lot, Enosh is the trainer of the
you.
top. Enosh absolutely the favorite.
You were nice, like 2 seconds. You're a legend! I like you too, man. We're good.
Ooh, and Ryan does choose to bring Bisharp this game, switching it up from game 1. But that and Enosh goes for the Salamence and Venusaur. Intimidate will pop the Define on Bisharp, giving him a free +1 boost to his attack. And this is really bad news for Enosh.
So like I was saying, Salamence was a Pokemon Enosh might have wanted to consider for Intimidate, but once again, Ryan does have that Bisharp, and it's really interesting. There's so many mind games when you have Intimidate and Bisharp on the same team, or on opposing sides. A lot of people go, oh, he has an Intimidator, so I'm just not going to bring my Bisharp, or I'm going to lead with my Bisharp. But often the Intimidator stays in the back. This time, both Pokemon, both the Intimidator and the Defiant user are coming out, so Salamence is going to capitalize majorly off that.
Politoed will come in, setting up the rain, which is absolutely crucial, as we mentioned earlier. Venusaur pops its Mega Evolution right now. Mega Evolving into Mega Venusaur does give Venusaur a significant defense boost, so it'll be able to take a hit from Bisharp, but does massive damage to the Salamence, but does not take it out. Fire Blast will hit Bisharp, but due to the rain, it does not KO. And a Leaf Storm comes out. Not a very common move. Giga Drain is far more common, but it's working out here as Politoed goes down in one hit. And now Ryan will not be able to reset his rain after 5 turns.
Wow. That was wonderful turn there for Enosh, considering how poor his the lead matchup looked. The Leaf Storm was a really nice attack, and by switching into Politoed, losing Politoed is huge because now Enosh, what are you doing? Oh no, that decreases the speed. Yeah. Kingdra's speed is I got it. Kingdra's speed is important in this matchup. By having Kingdra, you're able to outspeed a majority of Enosh's team, or the entirety of it, but the rain can now be stalled out. However, Mega Venusaur is in a really good position right now if it chooses not to, say, attack. But the +1 CB Sucker Punch from Bisharp is never something you want to scoff at, but I am amazed by the fact that the Salamence was able to hang on with just that little HP. The rain, at first the switching looked nice, but then it took a lot of damage, and the Politoed ended up fainting anyway.
Venusaur will protect here. The Sucker Punch fails, and the Muddy Water will knock out Salamence, so this game will be a 3-3 game, but Mega Venusaur is now a huge threat. Yeah,
and we've seen Polykingdra and Bisharp on Ryan's end. I'm really hoping he's got that Talonflame in the back, otherwise beating that Mega Venusaur is going to be very difficult. Because it's just so bulky, and it gets so many support moves. But the thing is now, the Bisharp is at +1, and you can see a Sucker Punch off onto that Venusaur. Miltank cannot KO the Bisharp. It does get Seismic Toss. Unfortunately, the fighting type isn't actually super effective. So it's still only going to do 50 damage. Kingdra is still threatening with the Muddy Water.
Sucker Punch does fail. It's interesting that Enosh is keeping Venusaur in, seeing that it is at -2 special attack. Muddy Water will deal a significant amount of damage to Venusaur, and he gets another accuracy drop onto Venusaur. But Miltank shows its Thunder Wave, paralyzing Kingdra, which is huge, as Kingdra relies on its speed with Swift Swim. Sludge Bomb will come out, but at -2, it will not do significant damage. It does a measly 40 damage to Kingdra. And right now, Enosh isn't looking so hot.
Well, I'm surprised that Ryan decided to go for the Sucker Punch onto Miltank the previous turn. He needs to beat the Mega Venusaur at this point, and Venusaur, of course, does get access to other moves that aren't offensive. For example, you see Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, and Leaf Storm as his main means of offense, and then Leaf Storm and, not Leaf Storm, Leech Seed, and Synthesis and Protect, of course, as non-offensive attacks. And, Miltank's only offensive attack is the Seismic Toss, and it shouldn't be surprising like he went for the Thunder Wave there. It's meant to really be more defensive than anything.
Enosh choosing to keep his Venusaur in for yet another turn, protecting it. Sucker Punch will fail again as Miltank goes for the Milk Drink, which will restore it to almost full HP. Will Kingdra attack through the Paralysis? It will, and the Muddy Water will connect with Miltank, which should do about 50%.
Yeah, so kind of useless turn there, as both players end up in the same position that they actually started off in. But I like what Enosh is doing by Milk Drinking. You're rolling dice with Paralysis, but of course, Kingdra's granted, of course, gonna get Paralysis eventually at some point in the game. If you're able to heal that Miltank all the way back to full health with the Milk Drink, that's huge. And he's doing a smart job not letting that +1 CB Sucker Punch do anything to his team. He doesn't want to risk getting KO'd immediately by it, and it's smart that he is playing accordingly.
And Ryan also does not have his Politoed anymore, meaning that in a few turns when rain goes down, he will not be able to put it back up for the remainder of the match. Enosh looks like he's stalling for that moment as he's milk drinked and protected his way through the last few turns.
Right, the rain here not going to matter in terms of beating the speed, but it's really important, like, he gets more damage output here.
And he brings up Manectric, which is a huge problem as it means he does not have Talonflame to take out that Venusaur. Milk drinks again, stalling out yet another turn. And another Leaf Storm will come out here. It'll do decent damage, but at -2, Venusaur is not an offensive threat, and the paralysis.
There's the full paralysis. I mean, that's why I said I like what Enosh is doing. You know, you're bound to get a full paralysis eventually, especially when you're using Muddy Water. Muddy Water is also bound to miss because his accuracy is not exactly the best. At, I believe it's 85. Your chances of hitting both are only around 60%. Add the full paralysis chance in, then your attack of really hitting the Miltank, which is what you want to, through the full paralysis is really, really small. Now, like you said, because Manectric is the Pokemon instead of Talonflame, that's really, really bad because, you know, Manectric, of course, can't touch that Venusaur other than Hidden Power Ice, which isn't even, you know, that great because the Venusaur does have Big Fat. And so, unfortunately, Ryan is in for a really tough game, especially because Kingdra is paralyzed and he doesn't have the rain to boost Kingdra's power. And this is what I was saying, Miltank, I think, as we said in Team Preview, even though it can't do that much offensively, you want to wear your Pokemon down to the Seismic Toss level, and in the last game it picked up 2 KOs because of that.
It's important to note that Kingdra is sitting right outside Seismic Toss KO range right now at 51 HP. Manectric will pop its Mega Evolution. Oh, man. And Intimidate will come out, fairly useless again as Enosh has no physical attackers in the
What's so funny?
Miltank will go for the Seismic Toss, and it will not it lives 1 HP. And the Sludge but the paralysis comes out here, meaning that Ryan again does no damage to Venusaur this turn. Well,
oh my god.
as fun as a turn that was, once again, Enosh is in such a controlling position. Even if Kingdra did attack through that paralysis, he would have just went for a Muddy Water because he's choice, and that's not going to do anything.
Enosh will end up resetting his special attack by switching out Venusaur. He brings in Zapdos, which is another huge threat, as neither Manectric nor Kingdra can take it out effectively. The Hidden Power Ice will do a decent amount of damage to it, as Enosh is presumably running an offensive set as seen from the Zeus Lifelink. Seismic Toss will knock out the Kingdra here, and the consistent damage of Miltank is really paying off in this game.
Exactly, like I said in Team Preview, you know, Miltank, other than Seismic Toss, doesn't have much offense, but when you get that Seismic Toss going, like, it's really annoying, and the Miltank is really proving its worth as our cow here is currently sitting at near full HP. Bisharp is going to come out, but Enosh is in a fantastic position right now.
So, at this point, is there anything Ryan can do to take out the Mega Venusaur that's in the back?
What he can do is he's got to lock himself into insurance now with Bisharp. That's his only way that I see. We do see the Hidden Power Ice, but that's going to go into Zapdos.
And Miltank again gets another Seismic Toss off, taking Bisharp very low. And, you know, at this point, I really can't see Ryan taking out either Miltank or Mega Venusaur.
Oh!
And the element is shown, knocking out Bisharp. And that should be the end of the game.
That's going to seal things up right there. Actually, Enosh has not revealed Rocky Helmet as the item up until now, but that was key. It ended up winning him the game. It was really nice, the Rocky Helmet, plus, yeah, the damage there. Even if Ryan targeted the Miltank with the Thunder and Assurance combo, you know, it still would have ended up fainting from the Seismic Toss and the Rocky Helmet damage. As we're going to see, he is going to pick up the KO onto the Bisharp, excuse me, Miltank, but it's too late at this point.
So as it looks like we're going to be going to a game 3, has Enosh figured out Ryan's team? Does Ryan have to bring Talonflame and allow it to survive in order to take out that Mega Venusaur?
I think it absolutely does, if you ask me. Venusaur is absolutely key in this matchup. This is why we saw Enosh dominate this set, with no way to effectively beat that Venusaur. Or even Miltank, quite honestly. Enosh was able to play very well. Of course, that first turn was huge, and it's crazy because for how poorly the lead matchup looked for Enosh, Salomon's hanging on by just a thread of HP was pretty clutch as well. But we're going to see Enosh go for the Hidden Power Ice here and knock out the Zapdos, but Mega Venusaur has a very nice matchup against Mega Manectric.
You should remember that on turn 2, Venusaur did knock out Politoed in one hit with Leaf Storm. Ryan absolutely cannot let that happen again if he wants to take game 3.
So we see a very, very nice win by Enosh there. Only a 1-0 win, but very well played on his end this time. And Miltank and Mega Venusaur really, really doing work. So I'm going to quickly update the scene around here, and we're gonna go down to Game 3. So all 3 sets that we've streamed have got into a Game 3, so that's really, really cool. Yeah, and it's always interesting to see how both players adjust. And like I said, I think Enosh has a really great team matchup by having Zapdos, Mega Venusaur, and Miltank, which all fare relatively well against Rain. You know, Ryan's Choice Specs, Muddy Water, and Rain is, you know, still really good, but by getting the Thunder Wave off Miltank, it was really big for him. And both players are now tied at 1-1. And like you said, I think it's essential that Ryan this time brings the Talonflame. Otherwise, Mega Venusaur just walls the entirety of the team way too well.
So, as Ryan did bring Bisharp over Talonflame in Game 2, do you think Bisharp is worth bringing over Mega Manectric here?
That's an interesting question, and it's one that I'm not entirely honestly sure of the answer. I think Bisharp is really good, but the issue with Bisharp is we've seen Ryan walk into way too many Sucker Punch failures. You know, targeting the wrong Pokemon, trying to get rid of the Miltank last turn. I thought it was huge when he targeted Miltank instead of the Venusaur when it opted to attack. As opposed to Manectric, which can get the Hidden Power Ice onto the Salamence and gets consistent damage off with Thunder. Honestly, Politoed is a Pokemon that, you know, it really sucks. I think Politoed is not great in this matchup at all. The only reason you want to bring it is to set up the Rain, but the Rain is essential to helping Kingdra set up and for Manectric to get the Thunder off. Obviously, you don't want to deal with its accuracy outside of Rain.
So, as we wait for the players to make their choices in Game 3, which will decide the winner of this tournament, after Enosh brought such a successsucker team in Game 2 with Salamence coming up over Conkeldurr and completely doing work, being able to survive that turn 1 Sucker Punch from Bisharp, although it didn't do much aside from that, it definitely set him up for a good game.
And here we are, Game 3, finals. This is for all the marbles for a total of 3 championship points. That's a lot of points. But hey, you never know. 3 championship points might be the difference between 16th and 17th. But of course, both these players, Enosh essentially locking up his World's Invitation today, so congratulations to him. Ryan just picking up a couple of points, but this is exciting, and we're still in for a very fun match. And wow, the Talonflame and Bisharp lead.
Ryan does choose to bring Talonflame and Bisharp here, and presumably has Politoed and Kingdra in the back. So he has chosen to not bring Mega Manectric this game, which personally I think is the right choice, seeing as it hasn't done much to Mega Venusaur or Miltank that much over the last couple of games.
No, unfortunately, I don't think he's in the best of positions right now because neither that Talonflame nor that Bisharp, you know, Talonflame can Brave Bird the Miltank, but then it can just feint to a Thunderbolt. And it's interesting because what Bisharp wants to lock itself into, if it goes for the Sucker Punch, you know, Zapdos and Miltank can easily go away from that Sucker Punch by substituting Thunder Waving, Milk Drinking, all of that. Zapdos with Substitute is really interesting. It can actually help him out a lot here. But let's say, you know, Zapdos doesn't go for the Substitute. We might see a double target like a Brave Bird and a Reassurance. So, like we said, I think Talonflame is essential in this matchup. I think Ryan's going to want to switch out, or protect, as he does here.
He does protect his Talonflame, preserving it against the threat of a Zapdos Thunderbolt. But Enosh makes the right prediction, targeting Bisharp and taking it down in 1 hit. Enosh really showing the power of Life Orb Zapdos here. Not even a helping hand came out for Miltank for that one.
And wow, that's incredible. It's a, you know, it's not an attack we see very often, the Life Orb from Zapdos, but offensive Zapdos really proving work here. Bringing some flashbacks to VGC 2012 when Zapdos dominated a lot of the scene, especially during European Nationals where it made an incredible run. I believe a bunch of national champions used it, and Electric Jump Zapdos was really the play back then, and now we're seeing why Zapdos is still a threat to be reckoned with.
Ryan is forced to switch out Talonflame here as he needs it to take out the perceived Mega Venusaur in the back. And Enosh is in a really good position right now. Ryan does set up his Rain, but the helping hand comes out on Zapdos.
Both players shaking hands already.
And Zapdos will Thunderbolt onto Kingdra, and it will be a KO. Zapdos carrying Enosh here in Game 1.
Yeah, there wasn't really much Ryan could even do there. The Kingdra's choice, unfortunately, so unbelievable. You know, the only thing we could have seen from Ryan that could have helped him was perhaps a Sucker Punch on the first turn, but Zapdos, you know, does such a good job against Ryan's entire team, and that's why I was saying Manectric might be worth bringing. You know, Bisharp would have been good, but the thing is, Bisharp is it's pretty hard to play accurately with. With Manectric, you get some leeway in terms of bringing it in, and now it's very hard to see a Politoed and a Talonflame beating a Zapdos by itself, but Enosh still has 2 Pokemon in the back, along with the Miltank.
Yeah, and at this point, Ryan doesn't even have enough offense to take up the Zapdos. He does choose to protect it here, which is a good play.
Yes!
Legendary.
Teammates!
dealing some great damage to his own Polygon right there.
That's legendary.
And Thunderquake both gonna.
Enosh isn't the only person who can attack his own Pokemon, as we see go off into Polygon. And stop!
That's legendary. I'm not going without knocking out a Pokemon. Knocked out a Pokemon, I'm good.
It doesn't matter whose Pokemon it is, as long as you knock someone's Pokemon out.
You can't be the scrub who ain't knocking out nobody.
There we go. Here we go. We see a 3-turn finals there. Enosh, Enosh's Zapdos legendary.
And Enosh Jaguar is your 2014 challenger. Picking up his 15 championship points and securing his world's invite. Congratulations to Enosh.
In probably the most dominating game we've seen today. Wonderful performance by both.